Habeas corpus. Breaking news. The term habeas corpus is Latin for "you shall have the body." In the United States, federal courts may issue a writ of habeas corpus to evaluate whether a state's detention of a prisoner is legally justified. This writ allows a prisoner, or any other detainee such as someone in a mental institution, to be brought before the court so that the legality of their detention can be reviewed. A habeas corpus petition functions as a civil lawsuit against the state official, typically the warden who is holding the person. It can also be used to examine issues like extradition procedures, the amount of bail set, and whether the court had proper jurisdiction. See Knowles v. Mirzians, 556 U.S. 111, 2009. Felker v. Turpin, 518 U.S. 1051, 1996. McCleskey v. Zant, 499 U.S. 467, 1991. Historical background. Habeas corpus traces back to 1215 in the Magna Carta, in which Clause 39 proclaimed that no man shall be arrested or imprisoned except by the lawful judgment of his peers and by the law of the land. By the 1600s, English courts began reviewing habeas petitions. Originally created to push back against the king's unchecked power to detain people, habeas corpus evolved to address detention by various other authorities of the time. Thus, it became a tool for the king to require justification when someone was held by others. Firmly embedded in Anglo-American legal tradition, habeas corpus was embraced in the U.S. as well. James Madison championed its inclusion in the Bill of Rights in 1789. Chief Justice John Marshall, the fourth Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court, emphasized its importance in 1830, calling its primary purpose the release of those imprisoned without sufficient cause. The Supreme Court has repeatedly affirmed that habeas corpus is a core mechanism for protecting individual liberty from unlawful or arbitrary state action and must be applied with flexibility to uncover and address injustices. The first Judiciary Act in 1789 authorized federal courts to provide habeas relief to federal prisoners. After the Civil War, Congress extended this to state prisoners held in violation of federal law. Courts often found that state courts lacked jurisdiction, justifying federal intervention. Following World War II, the incorporation of the Bill of Rights against the states further empowered defendants to use habeas corpus to protect their civil rights. The Warren Court expanded these rights even further. In 1996, Congress restricted habeas corpus through the Anti-Terrorism and Effective Death Penalty Act, AEDPA, which imposed 1. A one-year filing deadline for petitions, 2. A ban on successive petitions without appellate court approval, and 3. A requirement that relief is only available if the state court decision contradicts or unreasonably applies clearly established Supreme Court law. Further limitations came through the Detainee Treatment Act, 2005, and Military Commissions Act, 2006, which barred Guantanamo Bay detainees from accessing habeas in federal courts. They were instead directed to military commissions, with limited appellate review in the D.C. Circuit. However, in Boumediene v. Bush, 2008, the Supreme Court held that the suspension clause guarantees habeas access even to detainees held outside the U.S., affirming their constitutional right to review. Under federal law, 28 U.S.C. Paragraph 2241-2256, two conditions must be met for habeas review. 1. The petitioner must be in custody when the petition is filed, and 2. State prisoners must exhaust all state court options. Any federal court with jurisdiction can hear the case. The petition must be written, signed, and verified by the petitioner or a representative. It must name the custodian as the respondent, state the custody facts, and present the legal basis for relief. If the petition repeats previous claims without new grounds, the court can refuse to hear it. A federal judge may dismiss a petition that clearly lacks legal merit on its face. Functions of the writ of habeas corpus. Today, habeas corpus primarily serves as a post-conviction remedy for prisoners who believe their detention violates federal law. It's also used in immigration and deportation cases, military detentions, and convictions by military tribunals. In criminal cases, it can address preliminary issues such as the legality of the detention, requests to move cases to another district, R. Denial of bail or parole. RIV. Claims of double jeopardy. V. Delays in trial or hearings. And VI. The legality of extradition. Habeas corpus is a legal inquiry into the basis for imprisonment. It compels authorities to justify the detention or release the individual. The writ is designed for immediate relief from illegal imprisonment, requiring lawful justification to continue detention. Rather than evaluating guilt or innocence, habeas corpus assesses whether the legal authority exists to detain someone. Courts review only whether the detaining body has proper jurisdiction, not whether their judgment was correct.